Hello! Today we are here to discuss 8-Minute Empire Legends.
Yes.
This is a Ryan Laukat game. And why don't you tell us more? Well, before we don't tell us yet. We gotta make sure they hit that subscribe button.
Absolutely.
We'll wait. No, we won't. Just make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can join along as we go through many more games.
That's right. So this is 8-Minute Empire Legends. This is not the first game in the series. The original one was just 8-Minute Empire. This is a 2 to 4 player game. Came out in 2013 or 18, excuse me. Designed by Ryan Laukat, art by Ryan Laukat, like most of his games in Red Raven Games. MSRP is not too bad. It's only $29.99. I found a much cheaper version on the geek market for $19. And you'll probably find out why here in just a little bit.
So, as far as the quality of components, the cards are, as usual, as most of the games, they're the same kind of card stock. They have linen finish.
Pretty decent thickness.
Yeah, decent cards. The player boards they're bowed a bit, which is, the box was actually bowed.
Yeah,
a bit
the box itself was.
But
how long do you think you've actually had it though? Because it was still in shrink.
Yeah.
And the shrink itself was pretty. It was like super tight. So it's like maybe it wasn't originally that bowed, but maybe because of temperature or something, it kind of
I don't know.
I don't know.
Pretty, I mean,
I just wonder how long
it stays in a basement where it's temperature cool. Down there. I don't know.
It's kind of weird. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure when I picked it up, but I've had it a while. I think maybe it was because I got it, from where I got it from. They may have had it heat stored, and maybe. I got it, I think, at a decent price, discounted.
Right.
But the boards themselves have, we'll get to art here in a minute, but they're decent cardboard thickness. But the layer on it, I just felt peeling a second ago as I was flipping it over.
But the art's nice, but the quality
card stock isn't great, and the coins are awful. The coins are tiny, and the color, you basically have copper and silver, but the rulebook explains the silver, which is normally 1s and 5s, as 1s and 3s, which threw us off for a little bit. And then you've got just basic wooden cubes, and you've got these.
I do like these. Though.
The castle type city things look kind of neat. They are custom, and you don't see that shape like that very often.
But that's the nicest part.
Yeah, definitely. The cards and those
the art on the cards, and this is the nicest part. Of the game.
And then you got some basic little cardboard chits for different expansions.
Variants and stuff.
Yeah, I do like that. A lot of the games we've been playing lately have had built-in expansions in them, even the small box ones. So we played Island Siege the other day, and that one was more impressive than we expected, and it had expansions built in, which was really cool. So. Yeah, I like the trend of that. It's cool to get some extra stuff that you can add into the game. So as far as quality, I'm probably at a 6. I don't, and I'm even that, maybe a 5.5, because it's just not much.
I think that's where I was going to go to, 5.5. There's just not a lot to the game to begin with.
Right.
And then the fact that the cardboard money it's pretty chintzy. And then the card stock, if it was a little bit thicker, I might have given it a better score, but I mean, component-wise, different per theme, but component-wise, I just can't give it more than a 5.5.
Yeah. So moving on to theme, this is again Ryan Laukat art. We love the Ryan Laukat. This doesn't have the characters from the other games, though.
It doesn't, but it still has. But you can still tell it's Ryan Laukat.
Oh
I mean, the art is just fantastic.
It definitely had the flavor. Yeah, it's beautiful art.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed in the player board art. I honestly,
it's a little plain.
It's fairly plain. Although he did, there are different distinct features on each one. They're all 2-sided, and there are distinct features on each one that you can tell is.
But it almost feels blurry.
Yeah, it does.
Especially like with the house, it just feels like they took a picture and it just wasn't quite in focus.
Yeah, I agree. I as far as the caliber of art we've seen from Ryan Laukat games, this one was disappointing in my opinion.
On the boards, I think the cards are top notch.
Yeah, and as far as it's all, there's never really a deep story as far as, but he typically carries it through all the games. This one felt a kind of a standoff. It didn't feel like it was part of the same, even though the art was similar. It didn't feel like it was part of that same world.
And it may or may not be. We don't know because there's just not enough in the game to let you know if it is part of that same world as Above and Below or Near and Far, any of those games that we do enjoy so much.
Yeah. So as far as theme, I can't give this any more than because I like the art so much. I go to 6. That's about the highest I can go on it.
I think I was going to say 6.5 because I like the card art so much, but that's the tippy top.
Okay. As far as the rule book is small, just as the game is. It is about 6-8 pages. There's no page numbers,
and it didn't need to be that long.
No, but it does have variants at the back.
That's true.
It walks through the different abilities that you have on the cards, but the game is pretty simplistic. The one thing it doesn't do is explain how important money is, or the fact that there's no way to get it.
I got so screwed over.
Which we'll talk about more in gameplay.
Yes.
But it didn't explain the criticality of the money. You get money to start the game, and it should have really stressed.
That's really about it.
Yeah, that's all you're really going to get as far as money. There's a couple one-time bonus cards you can get a couple coins in. Nowhere in here did it say, watch your money. There was no advice on that. So it would have been very helpful to have that information because it kind of ruined our first.
It ruined my game for sure.
Yeah. So as far as the rule book, I'll give it a 6. I don't think it's a good example of a Laukat rule book. As far as I don't know if he writes the rules, but
once we understood the game, it wasn't that big of a deal. But there were a couple confusing parts that it just didn't click in my head until the end of the game.
Yeah. So as far as gameplay, the game is fairly simple. So first of all, you have a tableau of 6 cards that you can buy during the game. And there's a rank this really should be at the other end.
Yeah.
So that you could get a cost of the first one is 0, and then it's the next two are 1, 2, 2, and the last one's 3. And then each time you take one, they shift down and you replace. Typical what you would see in a tableau acquisition game. The thing is before you start, you have a pool of money. Depending on player count, it can range from like 10 to 12 coin. 9 to 12 coin. So we were playing with 2 players, so you got 12 coin. So you bid to determine who's going to get to bid first on taking or to
be able to get the card first.
Which is one of the things I didn't like about this game right off, because it said if you tie, then the youngest player wins. And it's like, okay, this is silly because basically if you're the youngest player and you're always going to break the tie,
especially once you figure out how important money is.
Yeah. So it felt like it was not fully fleshed out, that function.
I agree.
Secondly, you didn't know how much you should bid on the card on the first play.
Oh yeah, I was thinking,
like half your money.
Yeah, most games being first player, highly advantageous. So you want to be that first player to get that first card or be able to get the first pick of the card. So I literally bet half my money. And then that limited the rest of my game. Because
once you spend money, there is no mechanism for getting more money.
There's one card that you can get in a 3-player game. 2-player game, it's not even an option.
Yeah, it's not an option. So, I highly do not recommend this game at a 2-player.
Yeah.
But, let's say you knew that rule and you were going in and playing it. You would invest, you get to spend the money. You get to pay then for any card you want, but I would never buy the 3-level card because you only get 12 coins.
Except for maybe you have 3 money and it's the last round of the game.
Maybe at the end. If I was conservative.
And it's because it was really important.
Right.
But
so
highly doubtful.
We spent a lot of time just drafting whatever card came at the end, which is what I thought was like kind of lame about this game. As far as the cards go, they have 2 actions on them. One is an immediate effect, which is at the bottom of the card, which is, this is really an area controlled game, although you get points from the cards as well. So the bottom action will either let you place additional armies, which are these cubes, onto the board, and you can place them either. There's a starting token that both players. Well, you pick an island and you determine whoever is I guess I don't know if the first player was whoever was dealing them basically determined where the starting location was. That is always available as a location to drop your armies on. So if you get to drop 2 armies onto the board, let's say, you can put them right there where that starting location is, and that will be a place. Now the other thing you can do,
which would basically on the card would look like you don't have any arrows, you just see cubes.
Yeah,
and then that means you get to place armies.
So another option is you can build a city, and a city is these castles. So if you get a card that lets you immediately place a city, you get to place it wherever you have a cube. And from now on, well, that's a bad example. There's already one down here. We'll use this one. So we place the city here because I have cubes there. Now I can deploy cubes at the location where the city is as well. So these are just basically deployment locations that you can drop to save on movement costs. So speaking of movement, the movement actions...
Which looks like this. It's basically the cubes, but it has an arrow. Yeah. So that tells you how many of your armies you can move. And
you can move them from anywhere. So you can do 2 in one space, or in this case it's 2 movement, or you can do 2 different ones in 2 different spaces. Or you can move 1, 2 spaces. Right. However you want to break it up. But you can only move on land. It costs 1 to move on land, or if you move across the sea, it costs 3 movement just to move 1 cube. And
there's a way to mitigate that with some card abilities, but I didn't get to those early because I didn't have the money to buy the card, and Randy got to it before I could, and it made a big difference to him being able to move his armies. But I think that's the only interesting part of the game is how the cards can play together. Yes. The mechanics of the card abilities were okay. I mean, they weren't fantastic because it's a pretty basic game. But there were some interesting decisions that you can make there because they can combo together, and that made it kind of neat. But man, I was hurting.
Because at the top of every card, it has the flavor text for the name and everything, but it also gives you an ongoing effect in most cases. The coin was the only exception to that. If you did have the coin card, it's at the top where you would think
the Rulebook is a liar because it says, "Oh, you can get your money back." No. 1 card.
That's the part that made no sense. Like, why did you put it at the top of the card if it's a one-time bonus of 2 coin? You could have put that at the bottom where all the other one-time bonuses were. Right. I mean, it made no sense.
Or let me sacrifice an army cube to get some money back or something to get some money into it.
Yeah, and there was nothing for getting money. So that was frustrating. But as a result of you losing the money, I got to take advantage of that the whole game.
Because of the bidding part of it, he literally could bid 1 coin
or not
bid anything. Well, no, if I didn't bid anything, I always won it.
Right,
which he took advantage of that because he'd be like, "Oh, I want the card that it's going to cost 1.
Exactly.
I don't want to spend 1, so I'll let Robert go first, get the 0, it'll move down.
Exactly.
I get it for free."
So I only bid like a coin when I had to. Yeah. Otherwise, I just let you take whatever garbage was in the first position that I didn't care about and set it up for me.
Yay me.
So you getting into financial straits early in the game basically gave me the game. We might as well stop playing at that point.
Absolutely. It was so brutally one-sided.
Yeah, because you get bonus cards. Some of the cards have bonus in-game scoring on them, or trigger from other cards saying if you collect a certain type, you get victory points. So I was just trying to set those up. But in addition, I was getting the area control because I had all the movement because you couldn't deploy cubes because I didn't let you take them. I took all the cards that let you deploy cubes, and I had all my cubes on the board.
All I had was movement cubes. And so once you only have like a few cubes on the board, moving them is useless.
Yeah, you can move around all you want. You're not going to get area control if you got half the cubes that I got.
And then not only that, he got a special ability which wouldn't allow me to attack him because there isn't an attack ability on here. But I only saw that one time. He got the card. I couldn't even remove any of his units off the board.
So this game can be very one-sided, and it didn't feel fun even being on the one side that was winning. It was just, it just felt like this is pointless. I'm just winning this easily. I mean, it was not even a challenge, and it's not your fault it wasn't a challenge other than the fact that
I made a bad decision up front. which is my fault. But
Yeah.
maybe if the rulebook did a little bit better job,
Exactly. If there was any
or
conversation
something,
about
yeah.
how money was,
is non-existent.
yeah, and to put a card in there that indicated, showed a picture of the card saying that there's coin cards that give you money back, we just had the impression that was going to come back.
Nope.
So yeah, I mean, it was a completely one-sided game that was not fun in the first playthrough, and I honestly didn't feel like it was going to ever get better.
Yeah,
I mean, even knowing that, if you went and played it again, I just don't see there's enough here that's going to interest me.
I agree. So
because
even going to a 3-player game, when you do get that money card back, we only saw the one money card. So even if you got a 3-player, you're only going to see it one time. That's it.
Well, I think there's another one, a 4-player, but still, it's a one-time use.
It's a one-time thing, and you're only going to maybe see it in a 3 or 4. There was still a half a deck of cards that were. Well, no, we went through most of the cards. Yeah, I think we threw most of the cards, but still, what if those were at the bottom of the deck?
Yeah, it'd
be completely useless.
Yeah, it did. As far as it didn't have enough meat to it, as far as area control.
It didn't have enough meat for card building.
The fact that even it didn't care whether you were in the same location as somebody else. The only impact was you could attack them and remove one of their pieces. But that was the only. I didn't see any cards that took more than one.
Right, it was just the one.
And it was not like it was going to hurt really that bad. It
wouldn't have hurt that bad if I had the ability to move. Or, I mean, to be able to place and then move, which I didn't. So.
I mean, as far as area controls, this just didn't feel very meaty at all.
It's too light.
Yeah, and as far as a deck, I mean, it's not really a deck builder; it's a tableau builder.
It's a tableau builder.
Taking cards from here. It was cool.
And that was the end game. Yeah. It's like once you get up to 11 cards.
Yeah, it's just the game is just play through 11 rounds, and to manage, you start with 12 coin for 11 rounds. Just doing the math, there's not a lot you can spend. So buying a 3-cost card is almost silly.
Spending 7 on a
on a first bid
is silly.
Yeah, but you're not. I mean, there's no recovering from those kind of things. If you bought a 3-level card, it would probably have the same impact as what happened with you at the 7, because you're going to be now strapped for coin, especially in a 2-player game, where
you're not getting it back.
Yeah, there's nothing more. Well, it's not just that. You're playing one person that's playing against you. Mm-hmm. They can just take advantage of the fact that you're short on money now. So yeah, I mean, I definitely would never play this 2-player game.
Yeah.
If I were going to play it, it would be a 3 or 4 player game.
And that's a big fat maybe.
And it's like, if I'm going to do that, why would I play this one? There's so many other ones I could play. So I can't give this more than a 4. And I think it's sad because this is the first Laukat game I'm saying that about, because I've loved so many of his games. And maybe I don't know if this was, you said it was 2018, so it's not an early one.
Yeah, it's not super old.
Yeah, it's not like this is a first game of.
I'd have to double check. It might be 2013.
Okay.
But there is 2 different versions. This isn't the original 8-Man Empire. And so this is 8-Man Empire Legends. So the original one, I don't know, would be better or worse. We don't know.
No, but yeah, I mean, I can't recommend this one. It maybe
Unfortunately, and it does hurt because we do like Ryan Laukat.
Yeah, I mean, so much. This is the first time I've given a review where I can't recommend a game of Laukat's. I mean, they're so amazing.
Yeah.
So if you want to check out a Laukat game, check out Above and Below, Near and Far.
Sleeping Gods.
Well, we
haven't played it yet, but we've heard amazing things.
So yeah, I mean, there's so many good ones.
Islebound.
Yeah. Islebound. There's the City of Iron. It's a good one. So there's so many good ones.
Other than this one, they're all good.
Yeah.
So we know of anyone. So all right, well there you go.
I think our review lasted longer than the 8 minutes for the Empire.
Totally.
Yeah. And way longer than your chances in the 8-minute Empire. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this, and you'll come back and check
let
out
us know if you think if we got like totally out of the left field of what you think of this game. Let us know. Maybe we just had a bad play of it, and you think it's an amazing game. Let us know why.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye. It's just the bar on the camera has like something in my face, and
It's been that way forever.
I didn't notice. I didn't realize I had a bar sticking out of my head.